poached by a startup. You know what set them apart?
What had set this startup apart from everybody?
The people there. I was like, I got done with the interviews and I'm like, is everybody this nice? And
no, really? Yeah, you just felt it.
I mean, they were amazing and
Wow.
they were just real. There was no, like, and it was my first place where there was no dress code. Everybody was just like in jeans, and this was really different from a Big Four, Merrill,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, can I wear sneakers? Like, it was like a huge culture shock for me.
Like, you would just get crickets. You've always feared asking that question before at the more professional, like, large corporations.
Oh, yeah. No, you wouldn't even do it. Like, you wouldn't even attempt, like.
You would be that, like, that one, I don't want to say ugly duckling, but it's the the person that's standing out away from all the tribe, and everyone's like, whoa, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Oh,
like, yeah. No, you wouldn't do that. You would look so, like, unprofessional. So I was like, all right, these people seem really nice, very smart,
Yeah.
How long is it going to last? Right?
Oh.
So I'm like, yeah. So it was a hard decision going to the startup, but because my partner at the Big Four was like, startups get sold and bought so quick. Like, if you want a long-lasting career, you should stay here. Right? So that's, like, in the back of my head, like,
wow.
Yeah. Best decision I ever made going to a startup.
What was the startup? What was their business model?
We did ethical hacking, source code review, but it was all build security in to your software development lifecycle.
DevSecOps.
Yes.
Awesome. And was this startup that you joined, was this kind of like the first break into technology and like really being...
Absolutely.
Okay.
I knew nothing. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's exciting.
It was exciting. I had some great mentors. I have some great mentors that are still there. I have some great mentors that left that I still keep in touch with. Learned a lot. And the down-to-earth, cool people lasted 10 years. I'm still there. But even though we got acquired,
So they did get acquired.
He was right. But it took a good, 7 years or something like that. 6 to 7 years after I started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite a while.
Yeah, it is. So we had that whole startup life culture, loved it. Still like it because Synopsys has acquired so many startups. So it's like now this nice eclectic mix of startups.
And it helps almost like just create, how would you describe the atmosphere? You have all these different startups and are they fully merged into the company, or do they act more as a kind of like, is it the wholly owned subsidiary? Is that the term?
Yeah, we are all part of a business unit called Software Integrity Group. So we're all divided in our different groups, kind of on what we work on. So there are these business units of thousands or hundreds of people. So ours is about 500 to 600. And so if you imagine, that's also cut up into different startups. So then you kind of go through this period of, I'd say maybe 2 years, where you're trying to like forget your startup and your startup culture and your branding and everything that's been like tattooed on your brain about your company.
Everything.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you're trying to then retrain yourself to, now we're part of this like big, awesome new group, and we have to all be one tribe now.
And that's where I feel like that's the exciting space for you to be in, because you're really about nurturing and like bringing people together, right?
Yes. So we started a mentoring program.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. And so we have people all in our same business unit, but sometimes working on different areas, mentoring each other. So that kind of helps with culture. And our tagline is partner for growth, right? Because we want the mentor to be just one area that helps you grow. So you also have your manager, who should also be really invested in you and your career. Your mentor. You have your resource manager, which is usually someone on my team. And then, we encourage people to make different networks all around. So the more support that you have at work, the better.
Social, like you have to make sure that as a part of a company, you're building those relationships horizontally and vertical.
Yes, right? Yes, absolutely.
How does a day look like, or a week look like for you? And what are some things that through your journey that you've optimized and kind of established as principles that help guide you to be the most effective that you can be?
My day is filled with a lot of meetings. That's my day. I wake up, I have coffee, and I get on a lot of meetings. No, I'm kidding. It is a big part of my day, but the way that I've optimized is being able to say no. Really being able to say, no, I'm sorry, but I can't join this one, right? Or knowing that you don't have to be in every single one and really have your hands in every detail.
Yeah.
So I think knowing when to be a part of meetings and knowing not to be is really something that will open up somebody's effectiveness at their job. Like if that's a skill, I think that if you can learn and when to say no, you can optimize your time.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
and it's difficult
sometimes.
a lot of times for people to say no, and I even can resonate with that. There definitely comes a point where either being like a startup company or trying to figure out what your channel is to deliver value in the marketplace, you kind of say yes to a lot of things, but you really need to narrow it down. And then even with like being within a company or being a decision maker of some sort, or being a manager, you do have to, I think, balance between the time that you have, because we have we have such limited time on a daily basis.
Such limited time. Yes, because we have such limited time also because I think work-life balance is so important. So I think you also have to learn when to say no to get off so you'll be a better human the next day. And like know when to cut it off so then you can go and recharge, refresh, like take care of yourself.
Yeah, super important, because it's a campaign. Like I describe it at our company. It's a campaign. It's never a daily thing. We really try to look at ourselves on a monthly basis. We analyze on a weekly basis. But any one day is not it's not the go all. We all have days, but it's a campaign of where we're going towards, that we're working together for.
Yeah.
So what do you do outside of work, or what's your passion? In your spare time or in your free time?
So, okay, I'm going to share something that a lot of people don't know.
Oh, one and only, heard it first.
All right. This might sound really weird too, but I'm a big believer about like being yourself and being unique, and that's what sets you apart. But I actually wrote out my own obituary. Like how I wanted to live my life, and then I came up with steps to get there, right? So what I like to do, I'll share it. Yeah. Okay, let's hear it. I love it. Oh my gosh, I know this is huge, right? I haven't shared this. I've shared this maybe with a couple of people, and everyone's like, you wrote your own obituary? Like, they think I'm so weird.
I'm actually kind of inspired. I feel like I'm missing out on kind of working from the end to the beginning.
Yeah, right? Well, I was like, how am I going to set my goals? Like, how do I want to look at my life, right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of treated my life like a business. Like, okay. What's important to me? What do I need to make time and space and energy for?
Yeah.
Right. What are the things I really want to get done? So I wrote some of the things. So business leader, I wanted to get my master's in psychology from Harvard. I wanted to be a mentor, an artist, a yogi, a pilot.
You've got the headset already.
Yeah. Well, I love flying. That is what I would focus on outside of work besides school. Like I've done it now. I'm getting my hours, and my goal is to be have my private pilot's license.
Oh
That's
my gosh, that's awesome. I've been thinking about doing that myself.
Really?
Yeah, my friend, he's at the pilot school right here in St. Pete, and he said he's been progressing and like goes up whenever he wants. He's he's going in for the final test actually like soon.
Oh my gosh, does he have to do his first solo journey? So you have to do your solo flight coast to coast.
Coast to coast. Wow.
Yeah.
And how long does that take? That's like a 6-7 hour flight?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like at least 5 to 6. Yeah.
Wow.
I know that's so scary, but think about how much fun that would be. You got to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
We've got to talk. Yeah, we got to talk about flying.
I need to enroll ASAP.
Yeah, it is so fun. And it's such a thrill, and it's so freeing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I love it.
Okay, so we've got be a business leader, masters of psychology.
Yes.
Right? Become a yogi, artist, and mentor.
Yep.
Ooh, and become a pilot.
Pilot, yep. I have mother, because I am a mother. An investor. So some of the goals that I was working on, I made a different color for myself to know that I'm still working on them. So then I also have education philanthropist, because I am on the board of a charity. It's called MEF Foundation, and it gives money to underprivileged children for college, especially focusing in the medical areas and science. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I have nature and dog lover.
I want to look back in life,
yes,
my obituary to say, I went on walks in the park with my dog, and I enjoyed that.
This is important to me, you know?
Yeah.
Completely. It's got to be on
there. And I know
there.
you've got your camera with you. I've heard about the wildlife sighting that you do.
Yep. I saw a woman last night, and she was like, I was running with my dog. And she was taking pictures of the wildlife and just like the trees and stuff. And like when she saw me, she was kind of like, oh, because like there's not a lot of people back here. And I was like, oh no, like look at all this beauty that's in these woods. Like take your pictures. Good job. I love doing this. And I started talking to her. And then she like kind of like, you know, breathed her sigh of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be myself and take pictures of these trees.
I was going to wait for you to leave, but you seem nice.
Yeah, I was going to wait for you to leave. Exactly. All right, so we got nature and dog lover, paddle boarder. I love paddle boarding, and I also like yoga, so I like doing them together and doing
yoga on the paddleboard.
Yeah, wow. Love it.
Never done that, but I've seen it. It looks challenging.
It's very challenging. They say that once you fall in, you kind of earn your stripes. So I've earned my stripes.
It's a part of the practice.
It is.
Earn
it
your
is.
stripes.
Yeah. Because
so you're doing downward dog into like warrior. Actually, that sounds pretty badass, if I must say.
It is, and I pushed myself to do it, and I've got the pictures to prove it now.
Okay. I'd love to see these pictures.
I will send them to you for sure. I have beach walker. I love the beach. I like walking on the beach. I like hanging out on the beach. I like laying on the beach. Mm-hmm. I like swimming on the beach. I think I should just put like beach goer.
Enjoy the beach.
Enjoyer. World traveler.
Aha, yes.
That's a good one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I got empath. I have
Empath.
therapist. Yeah. I'm a natural
Ooh.
empath. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So even therapy, like I know you do, or you've helped with some coaching, right? You've been someone
Yeah.
that people can go to share what they're working on. And you have such an amazing, it's your nurturing understanding side where you can almost see really at the heart of the person, like what they're going through and like what would help them.
Yes, completely. That's one of my goals. So I hope that when I get done with school, I can move on to being an executive business coach.
Yeah.
I think that that degree will only help me do that. But then when I retire, I'd like to be a therapist that mixes in nature. So like nature therapy. So like
Ooh.
imagine like walks in nature, but you're with your therapist. That'd be
Wow.
cool, right?
I like that.
Yeah,
A
so you're
very,
grounding, you're in nature, but you're also getting that talk therapy that you need.
yeah.
That's kind of my retirement goal.
Oh my, that's. I can almost see you being like a shaman in the forest there.
Yeah.
Taking people on just a nice
Shaman.
little,
Yes.
yeah, just like let's talk it through. Like I could see you even being barefoot, just like yeah, let's leave the shoes out
Completely
there.
grounding. Yes, barefoot. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Oh, and like, okay, so this also doesn't get a lot of scientific backup, right? But hypnotherapy. I would really
Ooh.
love to get into being able to do that for people. I think it's really interesting. I've talked to some hypnotherapists that have told me like some crazy stories about how they've been able to get people to move through current blockages
Yeah.
by releasing something from a past life.
Yeah, and even just going through I think even just the experience of going through a past life memory, even if
Yeah.
we were to just imagine it, right?
Yes.
If you're imagining the situation, we obviously all believe in the placebo effect, right? We all
Yep.
honestly, science shows that if you imagine things, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, a big one, right, are all the manifestation type of forward thinkers, and I wouldn't say forward thinkers, just the real science. If you
Yeah.
visualize things,
Yeah.
you become what you think about. And so if you have experiencing this past life thing and you actually create the experience and you can actually feel this being a man or a woman or something, whatever type of past life in some other circumstance, I think it's very valid that you're going through that experience, and if you can heal that experience, even if it was imaginary, if you want to say it was your past life or
Yeah.
not, you're still going through a simulation that your
Yes.
mind and perhaps your conscious awareness and your subconscious are along for the ride, and like, okay, if we healed this experience that we just went on, we could call it a past life. I think there's a lot of validity in that.
Me too. Absolutely. I love it. I think it's extremely interesting. And I'd love
Yeah.
to be able to help people in that way. And so I have one more thing on my obituary.
Okay.
Hospice volunteer.
Hospice volunteer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow! What a big heart.
Yeah. I think that there's not a lot of people that can... I don't think a lot of people have this skill to be able to witness death and kind of look at it in the face and help people with that transition.
Yeah.
And I think that I could do that.
Wow. I'm trying to maybe ask, like, where did this come from, or is this? And it feels like you have you have a comfort with almost the experience of life, and almost as
Yes.
if you've already
Oh, yeah, this is a
experienced
good question.
death
I
in a
can tell
way.
you. Yeah. So I will tell you, I haven't had a full near-death experience, but I've almost died during the birth of both of my children.
Wow.
Two crazy stories. Maybe we will have time for later. But and totally different reasons too. It was really weird. But both times I was like, all right, I'm out. Right? Like I was very
Was it
very
after
comfortable.
delivery or before
It
delivery?
was after delivery both times.
Wow. Wow.
I was like, cool, see you guys. Sorry. but I'm out.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap for me. I did the job. Enjoy these children. Enjoy them.
Vaya con Dios. Just go with God.
And everyone's like, why are you so comfortable with this? And I'm like, look, I know there's something better out there. I know this sounds really morbid. Probably not where you wanted to go with the whole podcast.
No, we're going. We're going.
We're going. All right, we're going. But then I got actually really into researching near-death experiences. I spent a good 2 years just like, like when other people would be on social media, I would be like reading about people's near-death experiences. It was just something that I was like, wow. And then I realized that there were some basic trends that everyone had.
What did you find?
The white light, this feeling of overwhelming love, right? That you can't explain. Colors you've never seen before, being greeted by people that have already passed. Those are just some of them. I actually wrote a research paper for Harvard on the topic.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I shared
there's some discourse that you've gone through on this topic, and now so you've pulled a lot of these trends out of, and has this almost helped fortify a belief structure within you that's given you almost an interest even in the unknown and embracing the next step?
Oh, absolutely. I wish that I could, help people see that there's nothing to be afraid of. But that goes back to what we were talking about I need to master that everybody has their own experience, right? And everybody's a different thinker, and that's just the way it is. So then I have to kind of appreciate my strengths and maybe be able to use that and help other people transition. And so I got that way from kind of doing some research on the topic because it interested me, and then talking to some hospice volunteers about what they did, and then talking to some friends about what their parents' journey was like, going to the other side in hospice. And it's lonely and it's sad, and if I could help that not be the case, I would love to.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's so powerful, and what a altruistic thing to do. And I actually had my grandma, she went through a hospice experience and she passed away. And, when you go into that, that type of environment, where they're taking care of the people that are going through that, it's a very, very interesting environment, very challenging environment. And just wish that your soul is able to bring a light and not get dimmed through that. I think there's a lot of love that you'll have to bring to that, and cleansing of yourself, so that when you do volunteer, when that step happens,
Yeah.
But you make an impact doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And for family members, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the obituary. These are the things that Shoaa Kewan has
obituary.
Out and done in her life. She has checked these boxes.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are works in progress.
More like canvas, each is a canvas, and constantly just kind of filling it out.
Yep.
I actually kind of like that idea. Almost like giving somebody the challenge to think about their life, how they want their, obituary to be read when they die, like who you were and what you did.
Yeah.
And then imagine, instead of them being like check boxes, but each one is like a canvas.
Yeah.
And so each one's a canvas that you're constantly adding colors, adding lines, adding art, right? And you're always building up each one of those, because a lot of these areas require a lot of time. You have an 8-hour, plus work day, Monday through Friday. You're a mother. You want to become a pilot. You're finishing your master's degree in psychology.
Yep.
You have time to be a yogi, practice and teach, and therapist, walking through nature. And there's all these different stages, through life. But I mean, these are all just super beautiful to have as a mindset, to have up there as, your how do you want to say it? It's almost like visions, your
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a
visions for
vision.
yourself.
Yeah, it's like a vision board, right?
Yeah.
But so I did this in January. Is when I made my obituary.
Recently you did.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I just kind of, it's funny, like if I'm doing something, I'm like, I should add that to my obituary. I want to do that. I got to remember this. And I'd put it on.
That's beautiful.
So
I
it's
think
like
I've
an
done,
ever formulating. Yeah.
I think I've done something similar. I think one thing I would, I'm big on is I want to go hiking. I want to hike the mountains of the world.
Yes.
And I think even one day like Everest would be like to have lived this life and to be like, I went to Everest. And I made it to the top, to the highest point on the planet.
Yeah.
And then I'm so excited for Elon Musk and getting into a rocket ship and actually going up into space and experiencing space weightlessness, the real weightlessness when you're out there.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that vantage point and that experience, because there's, I don't know if you've, the people that go up as astronauts, you know, they have this transformational experience where they look at the planet as we are all one. And I think to be able to go out in space and look back at Earth, and even better, if I could get into a suit and then do a spacewalk where you're really, where you almost feel like you're there, and being able to look at the world and just like hold it, or just kind of like, you know, wow, like that's it. I can just put my hand over the entire planet, everything that we've all thought of and tried to do, and the mistakes we've made, or, you know, the dreams we have for the future. Like it's all just right here on this big circle that's just hanging in space.
Yeah. Alexander, I think you know what to put on your obituary.
Gonna add to it right now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, thank you. I'm actually going to take on this task, and I will add to it. I'm going to send it to you for review.
I was going to say, I want to know what it says.
And then just to add to it, it just seems like a practice.
Yeah.
And things might change as you grow, right? You might say, oh, like, maybe I tried this, and this isn't maybe what I want to do. But
yeah,
our obituary
like F-art.
is...
Throw that out the window.
There you go. If it comes, like if you say, or another priority comes in mind and you want that to be a part of your obituary.
Yeah, exactly. Because you only have so many hours, like you said. But if it's your whole life, I think it helps to just prioritize time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So just a few more questions I have. Mm-hmm. If you could look back in time, what advice would you give your 21-year-old self?
Be yourself. Unique. Don't try to be like anyone else. People will appreciate you because of your differences. That's what sets you apart. So, and also live for yourself and no one else. It's your life. And no one else is going to be stuck with your decisions but you. So it doesn't matter what other people think. I think that's a really big burden or a big hurdle for people to get across. Like, it doesn't matter what people think of you. Enjoy life every day. You don't know how lucky you are, so be in each moment. And be your own best friend.
Wow. That's a lot of great advice. A lot of great advice.
So I had to write it down.
I think like the two big ones is like, not caring about what other people think.
Yes.
Or not giving. I think we have like social constructs that we all kind of like stick to. You know, you don't want to be 100%. Like completely out there in like far left field in a public setting. But
you can be if you want to.
You can be, and just, and then just really have your strong frame of like, hey, I am being often like far left field, and we're tribal. I think we're still very tribal as people.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But something you said earlier is that I think this kind of coincided with death, and that happening is that there's nothing really to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So if you can combine, I think, not caring about what other people think, which is you being just confident in who you are, and then also not being afraid, like just knowing that like there's nothing really to be afraid of. And if you can imagine this like overwhelming love, this this experience of oppositelessness, I will say that, if that's a word. No opposite. Having no opposite. And so that foundation, I think, is like a part of our core being and like who we are and as essence. And so I love those two beliefs. And I think the advice that you just gave are a lot of really great values or beliefs that one, if embodying within yourself, transmutes the way you live, the way of your life, who you are.
Yeah.
Right? It changes the way you experience your winner effect, right? You having a positive day, thinking positive about yourself, thinking about positive things that you've done, only is going to ramp up your winner effect. It's a psychological mindset.
Yeah.
And then if you're able to also, and then you take that and you combine it with the confidence of, in I think, self-trust and like self-faith in who you are, and knowing that you're good enough and knowing that like you're fully capable, are going to just transmute the people, the places, and the things you experience as you get out there and you do it more and more and more.
Yeah. And I wish that I had learned that at 21.
Yeah.
I wish that I didn't care so much about what people thought, or you know what I mean? Like it takes, I think, so much fear out of your life once you can do that. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't really matter anyway. You know what I mean? And I think also when you learn that to forgive yourself, because we all make mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. You can't expect yourself to be perfect. And I think that I put a lot of pressure on myself. And when I was able to kind of forgive myself and say, okay, I'm not perfect. This is who I am. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's another day. Yeah. We'll get back at it, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so much wisdom, Shoaa.
Aw, thanks.
Thank you for sharing it.
I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy to be able to share it, or like actually have time to like sit down and think about these questions and what they really meant to me.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could change anything about the world, what would you change?
I guess people's mindsets. Like that, I just wish that everybody would want to help each other. You know what I mean? Like, I wish people weren't so self-centered. Yeah. And only out and realize like we are all one and we do need to help humanity in so many different ways. I just wish people thought more about other people.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. I think if technology and if society and if like the globe, if our civilization can solve scarcity, I think a lot of like abundance is, I think, an awakening call to these higher vantage points of love, of expression and connection, right? Because there's a very typical Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's another formula called spiral dynamics. And I think I spoke about that with you. And so
yes.
If we can cover the bases of, and every like, it's very, I don't know if people know this, but you have to earn a little bit of income. I think you have to have enough income to kind of like get yourself stated, but there does kind of running a topping point where adding more and more money isn't actually creating more and more happiness. But you do have to have your needs met, because if you don't, then our mindsets are more, our life, our brains are more in a survival fight or flight state.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about trying, I think, to visualize and put yourself more into the abundant mindset where you have everything, even if you don't have everything. And I think the more you do that, what you think about, you bring about. What you give, you get. And I think what you're pointing to is a big dream of mine. I think changing the mindsets of people and helping people create the right mindset to live a way that's right to them and productive and harmonious with other people is it's collaboration at its heart, and it's creative.
Completely.